The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Hello and welcome. It's Sunday and that means it's vlog day. I'm Steve-O the Vapor and we are going to be talking about a few things in Sunday vlog today. We're going to talk a little advocacy. We're going to talk about a few new products from Kanger and from Aspire. We're going to talk about some new coils that you can run in your Protank to SubOhm. That's right, you heard me, SubOhm. And a little bit more about actually utilizing some of this older equipment in a newer age. We're going to be talking a few things I found, and most importantly, we're going to begin about talking about this. There's a lot of reviewers out there that do reviews that have done this and have been in this industry a lot longer than I have. GrimmGreen, Ruby Roo, Twisted 420, Matt and Vanessa with Suck My Mod. A lot of them do very good reviews. They're up to date. They've got the latest equipment that sometimes I do not. So I'm changing the way I'm doing my reviews just a little bit. I'm going to be doing some reviews not only on products that I've got that I'm using, but also maybe revamping some old products. We're going to begin with a little bit of advocacy here in Texas. There is a Senate bill, SB 97, and it's a well-meaning bill. This is not like some of the things that are going on in other parts of the country where they're wanting to put 95% tax on everything you buy vape or tax your juice per milliliter. What they're trying to do here, and it's very good intentioned, they're trying to keep underage children, minors, under the age of 18 from getting their hands on vaping equipment, vaping materials, juice, and somewhat. And I'm for that, I really am. However, what they want to do is they kick it a little bit further other than the shop owners IDing, people they suspect are under 18. They also want to introduce it to where anything you buy online, you not only would have to pay for your purchase, you'd have to pay for your shipping. They also now want you to have an ID verification system. This would cost you $6 per shipment. So, and you may think, okay, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think that depending upon what you're buying, you may be paying anywhere from $3 to $5 to $10 to $20 to get this stuff shipped, depending upon how much you're buying and what shipping method or what vendor you're using to ship through, there would be a $6 ID fee on top of that for them to run your ID, make sure you're 18 or older, so you get your product. And for people like me who might buy one thing from Jovapes, buy another thing from No Leaf Vapor, buy another thing from buy some juice from Namber Juice, that adds up pretty quick. So this is call to action. It is on Casaa' website, that is Casaa.org. You can find that under calls to action, and I suggest looking for it by state. What we need to do is email our senators, our people that are making these votes happen, and let them know, hey, we're behind you on keeping minors away from it, but this restriction is going to seriously impact not only the consumer, but also the vendors, the store owners that order their products online. They're going to have to pay these same fees. And what that's going to do is that's going to drive your prices in your brick and mortars up. It's going to make it where a budget-minded vapor like myself might not get the products or get the product I want at that time. I might have to wait a little while. We don't really need that. So that's something of interest. Speaking of equipment and purchases, Aspire and Kanger are both coming out with some new equipment. I'm going to start with, of course, we know that Kanger has came out with the K-Box mod. It is 8 to 40 watt. It will fit the Subtank, the 25 millimeter gigantic 6 mil Subtank. It will fit that. I'm looking at the specs now. 18650 battery, short circuit protection, all the stuff you're normally going to see. It has 7 settings for your wattage. It's not like a traditional, like you would have here with the Sigelei, where you would set your wattage like this in 0.1 increments. You only have 7 settings for your wattage, and you just change that with one little button. Somewhat restrictive, but for a new vapor who wants to try that Subtank out, this might be the way to go. Aspire is answering this. Now, of course, we all know they came out with the CF Sub and the CF Mod batteries with the Aspire Atlantis. Now they have a new box. It's called the Aspire ESP 30 watt. It is variable voltage. Apparently you use the rotary knob to turn your voltage up or down between 5 to 30 watts. It does have a screen like we're used to, which the KBox does not have, that will give you such things. I'm looking here. I don't see, let's see what all this thing entails. Screen display, power, resistance of the atomizer, voltage and wattage. Everything you have, if you have a Sigelei, DNA mod, iStick, it's the same thing you'd be expecting from them. It is in a nice carbon fiber finish. It's a little bit rounded. It really looks like a very nice product. I have to give it to Aspire on this one because they one-upped that K-Box. I can find the dimensions here, which I can't. Anyway, go out to their website, look at this. We'll be getting it pretty soon, I'm sure. Brick and mortar and our online vendors will be getting that soon. So, nice new product from them. Speaking of the Subtank, the original Subtank, a lot of reviewers have all agreed, and I agree, there were 3 Subtanks. There was the big Subtank, the 25 millimeter. There was the mini, which is 4.5 millimeters, and it answered a lot of problems that people had with the original Subtank. And then there's the Nano. Now I own 2 of each of these, and I love them. I've got another iStick on the way to run my second one. I've got 2 of these Sigelei boxes for my minis, and I absolutely love them. I think they're terrific. Kanger has listened to its customers. They now have a new Subtank coming out, the 4th Subtank, called the Subtank Plus. Again, it's a 25 millimeter, so it's the same diameter as the original Subtank. However, they have made some quite good changes. They're listening to their customers. They have revamped the airflow, which was a major thing that people had. The airflow was restrictive in the old Subtank, the original Subtank. This one has the Cylon air holes. So they've revamped that. They've also revamped the drip tip to not be that long, slender one, but one of these nice little wide bores like come on the Nano and the Mini. Everything else is really the same. They've increased it to 7 milliliters. 7. And it looks like it's quite good. I think they've really listened to their customers. So that's a really good thing, and hey, I give them both credit for doing these things. I think really with the Subtank, the original Subtank, they kind of expected to do this and then release the K-Box, which would fit it, so people would buy the K-Box. And the K-Box, from what I've heard, is not a bad unit at all, and it's very reasonably priced, anywhere from $30 to $50. So if you've spent money on mods before, box mods, things of that nature, you know, that's pretty reasonable. That's iStick range, maybe even a little below. But again, it doesn't have the screen. These others do have the screen. The new Aspire ESP will have a screen. So I think Kanger, if you're listening, I'd look for another K-Box to come out with the screen, with the having more settings than 7, have the traditional up and down settings. So I think you can look for that to come out. Now also, GrimmGreen had mentioned this in his blog on Thursday, and I wanted to touch on this also. There's a guy, Professor Vape. His website's professorvape.org. I'm going to put all of this in the description too. He is making, among other things, coils. Now you say, okay, that's not no big thing, but what he's doing is he's actually revamping these. The original old Kanger coil, used in the EVOD, the Mini 1, 2, and 3, and of course the, get it out here, the Protank 1, 2, and 3. Well, he has come out with SubOhm coils. That's right, you heard me. SubOhm coils, along with lower than the 1.8s that you can usually get. I'm looking at his website. He is from the UK, but he has a 0.4 microcoil for the Protanks. He has a 0.7, a 1.4, a dual coil adapter apparently, all the way up to 2 ohms. They're built with resistance, non-resistance wire. They have cotton coils. They're organic cotton coils, obviously. And from what I've seen, they worked very well for GrimmGreen. So I think, hey, maybe this is something to look at if your vape budget is kind of small, like mine sometimes gets, and you have this older equipment laying around, and you're thinking, you know, if it would only do this or that, if I could sub-ohm it like a Subtank, because I can't afford a Subtank Mini or a Nano, yet this might be the way to go. You can just order these coils, put them in your Protank, of course, let it wick, because these are cotton coils, so you're going to have to let it sit and wick for about 15-20 minutes. And you'll have a terrific vape. And I think that really, you know, that touches on something that I'm really strong about. I like to be frugal. And when I buy products, you know, I've tried selling some of my old stuff on Facebook, on a trading post there, which is a wonderful thing to do if you've got products and you want to trade for something else. Don't expect a whole lot of people to jump up at once. I've had some mod and addies out there that I've been selling for about 35, 40 bucks together shipped, and most people, you know, are just like, okay, whatever, or they're like, okay, let's drive that price down because I want to resell them and make money off of it too. I mean, this is a buyer's market. It's been said by many reviewers that this is the time to be a vapor. We have so many products. We have so much competition. I can't even begin to count how many Subtanks there are now. I know there is the Kanger line, the Subtank line. There's the Aspire. There is, which I'm going to touch on the Aspire and a couple of things too before we go on to the next segment. There's the Horizon, dang it, I'm going to forget the name of it, the Arctic. There's the Joytech Delta 2. There's one called the Hercules. I mean, there's just tons of these things out there. I mean, everybody and their mother is making a SubOhm tank now, and some of them don't make the grade. I've heard that the Delta 2, the coils don't last very long. I know with my Subtank Mini, these 0.5 coils, I had a coil in this one particular one that lasted well over 3 weeks. All I did was put new juice in it. So that's pretty good. That's, you know, getting back to the way the old Kanger coils were. It's a buyer's market. I suggest looking around, shopping around. You know what you want. If you know exactly what you want and you want it right now, then obviously you know you might have to pay a little more to get it from a brick and mortar. But, you know, realize you're thinking, oh, these guys are scalping us. For example, this Silicone Mini I bought online, $40. This one, because I liked it so much, its twin, I bought for $60 locally because I liked it so much paired with the Mini. And I paid 50 bucks a piece for these Minis. And you're going, wow, well, you can find them so much cheap online. But It goes with vape budget hands. It goes with, do I want it right now or am I going to wait? So you have to take these things in consideration. Now, I'm not saying that every store is going to give you a good deal. Some people are unscrupulous. Some people are trying to make that extra buck off you. Most of these guys are legitimate. They've got bills to pay to keep that store open for you to come and buy the product. So if you're having to spend a little more on something to get it right now, or to see it right now, or test it right now, you have to take that in consideration. But it's a buyer's market. You can find darn near anything. If you wait a month or two to get it, you probably find it $10, $20, $30 cheaper than when it came out originally. And I want to get back. Sorry, get down right now, baby. That's Chloe. She's Vape Kitty. About old equipment. I mean, I know a lot of us, especially me, if, you know, before the Subtanks, the Atlantis, all of that came out, you probably had one of these. This is a Protank 2, or you had a mini Protank 2 or 3, or you have some old EVODs. And right now, I know mine are sitting in one of these nice little containers right here. And as you can see, I can try to tip it so you can see it a little bit. It's just got all kinds of old tanks and stuff in there. And seeing that Professor Coil and his SubOhm coils, it made me think, well, what can I do with the equipment I have now? Now, I caution you before I get into this, keep in mind that these SubOhm coils for the Protanks and this line are not going to work with your old Ego or your Vision spinner or something like that. You're going to need like a 30-watt device or the iStick 30 or 50. You probably, if you don't go below, you stay at like 1.2 ohms and above, you can use the original iStick. Just be careful, know the limitations of your battery before you get coils that'll be too much for that battery, because it either won't fire or it'll burn the battery out, and in the end it could vent, explode. You don't want that. It would be a bad experience. But I actually had some arguments with mine. After I got my Subtanks, I really stopped using these because I really didn't like the restricted airflow. It was very tight, very restrictive. So what I did with mine, my little Protank 2, and I'm very happy with it, is, let me hold it up there and see if you can see this. I don't think you can. Okay, there you go. As you can see, I have drilled out these vent holes. Now, originally it had 3 air holes, and I tried it. I didn't like it, and so I drilled out 3 more. So it now has 6 airflow holes around the bottom, and I got the airflow I want. I've actually been building my own coils, and this is kind of a convenience factor here. You can order these coils online, or you can build them yourself there if you do RDAs. This is fairly simple, kind of the same principles. If you know what you're doing, you can build these coils yourself. I actually built a 0.9 coil for this one and vaped it, and it vaped quite well, but I got some dry hits. I didn't have the airflow right like I do now. Right now I think I'm rocking a 1.5, and I'm rocking it on the iStick Mini, the 10-watt iStick Mini, which is kind of what I wanted to run on this. It's just my little ghost vape, my little stealth vape. And as you can see, I'm running it at 4.3 right now, 4.3 volts. Get my airflow just right. And as you can see, that rocks very well. It's tasty. It's got the open airflow I like. It gives new life to this Mini that I bought for my wife, and then she decided she didn't want to vape anymore, so I ended up with it. I wasn't going to give it away for 15 or 20 bucks when I had just spent $35 getting it, so I'm going to rock it as a little stealth vape with this little Protank. Hey, that's a good little cloud out of a little Protank too. This is not the dual coil, this is the original single Kangertech coil. But what I did, I'll show you real quick. This is your standard little Kangertech coil. Bring it up there, let you see it. It's got the silica wicks. They're kind of little. It's it looks like it's supposed to. This is the 0.9 that I built. And if we bring the original back out, you'll notice there's quite a bit of difference. As you can see, I've got organic cotton wicks, and I've got a lot of organic cotton in there. So it will wick good. And like I said, this one's running at 0.9, successfully at 0.9. Good flavor, good vapor production. They're easy to rebuild. So, I mean, the choice is up to you. You can buy them. Like I said, Professor Vape has these, or you can build them yourself and save a little bit of money that way. Some other things I was going to bring up. Let's see. Oh, yes. One of the things I love about my Sigelei, and led to my second purchase, is this. The silicone little sleeve. If you look at my Sigelei, this is the original one I bought back in February. 1st of February, I think. That's when I ordered this one. May have been January. But as you notice, it has, I mean, it's rocking good. It doesn't have any scratches. It's not all scratched up and dinged up. And that's partly because I leave this case on it. This thing has survived a fall out of my pocket onto concrete, and I think there's an itty-bitty scratch on the tank. And that's it. It survived this. For those of you that have eye sticks, Joe at Jovapes.com is carrying these, and you can get them in blue. I have that on my blue one. I've got another one for my silver eye stick when it gets here. They're $3 with I think it's like $2.60 something in shipping. Hey, that's great. I mean, and it's the same thing. It's a little silicone cover. It does cover your buttons, but you get rid of that button rattle too. And this is an original. This is actually a clone eye stick. And the other one's iStick 20. These will also fit the iStick 30. But if you like your equipment, you want it to last a while, you don't want it to be all bunged up and scratched up, here is your good cheap alternative to getting a wrap or something like that. For $8 or $9, you can spend $3 and get these nice silicone cases. And I just love the way this feels. It makes this feel so much better to me than it did originally when I got it. So, and I want to give a shout out to Jovapes. Great person, great customer service, really quick shipping. I really suggest them. I want to give a shout out to Joe. Hope you see this. I love what you're doing, and you've got a customer for life. So that's what I got there. I'm trying to think of other things, if there was anything else. Like I said, I'm going to be changing up the way I do some reviews. I'm going to do actually a little video on this, rebuilding it, things like that probably in the future. Actually, speaking of equipment, I have my Hannah mod. Now I bought this one to replace this one, which I put the battery in backwards, not paying attention one day, burned it out 2 weeks after I got it. It's been living life for the last month or two as an unregulated box mod. Well, I traded in an RDA and a mod I had that was nice, but I really didn't like how it vaped, and I've got a 30-watt DNA on the way. So I'm actually going to be putting that chip back in my red Hannah and have it back, and then I'm also going to rebuild that box, rewire it, redo a few things, maybe put some LEDs here for when you hit it. It has a nice little LED come up, and make it a new unregulated box mod. So, I mean, and these are things, if you know a little bit about electronics, and you have like a soldering iron, some bits of wire, a hot glue gun, when you wreck some of this equipment, now the iStick, obviously there's not much you can do, but this, you can actually take rebuild and breathe new life into this stuff. It's not always about buying the newest, latest, greatest stuff. I mean, when you can buy or build SubOhm coils for something like Protank, a mini Protank 2 that you've had laying around over here for forever, that's great. That's wonderful if that's what you want. This is getting long. I apologize. This is getting long, but like I said, that's what I've got for you today. I'm going to be doing these once a week on Sunday, so next Sunday will be vlog day again. And like I said, I'll be doing some other reviews of some stuff, maybe get into some cool building, show you some basics on that one day. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate you watching, letting me sit here and talk for 25 minutes to you. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to our Facebook page, which is AC Vapes. We'd love to have you there. Love to hear from you. Speaking of Facebook, one last thing. If you have older equipment, like you have an RDA and mod that maybe you would like to trade up or want something different, look on Facebook. There are tons of pages on Facebook that are like for trading, discounts, deals, clones. Just look at Facebook. You don't have to jump in right then. Look at the pages, see who's on them, see what they're doing, kind of test the waters. I've done this and bought, like I said, my other iStick. I think I got it for like 24 bucks shipped. I traded that other mod and RDA I had for that 30-watt box coming in. You know, and if you get these from people and you know what you're doing, you speak with these guys, you'll be all right. Now, there's always going to be some unscrupulous person out there, but just use your head, use common sense, know what you're doing, know what you're trading for, and you'll be all right. That's all I got for you today. Thank you again so much for watching. Till next time, Steve-O the Vapor here. Keep on vaping.